Stop demanding certainty in love, because the only certainty is loss. This is not a curse, nor a condemnation, but the hidden mercy of life itself. For every bond you form, every hand you hold, every vow you whisper beneath the quiet of the night carries within it the seed of an ending. Some endings arrive suddenly, with the sharpness of betrayal. Others come slowly, like autumn leaves drifting from their branches as time weaves its silent distance between two souls. And if neither betrayal nor time separates you, then death surely will. That is not a tragedy, it's the nature of all things under heaven. When you resist this truth, you bind yourself in chains of fear. You cling, you grasp, you demand permanence from what was never designed to be permanent. You say, "Promise me forever," but forever is not yours to demand. Forever belongs to one far greater than you. What is yours is today. This breath, this look in the eyes of the one you love. This fleeting chance to give without fear, to cherish without clutching, to hold without demanding to own. I speak plainly because too many hearts are broken, not by the leaving, but by the illusion that leaving should never come. You cry out, "Why did this happen to me?" when the better question is, why did I believe I was exempt from the nature of life? You are not exempt. I am not exempt. The rain falls on us all. The sun rises and sets for us all, and endings come for us all. The sooner you accept this, the freer you will love. Do you not see? It is in the awareness of loss that love becomes most alive. When you know that time is short, you kiss more deeply. When you know that nothing is guaranteed, you listen more closely. When you know that tomorrow may not come, you forgive more quickly. Only when you release your grip on certainty can you open your hands to the gift of the present moment. That is where true love lives in the now, not in the illusion of forever. There is a higher wisdom woven into this. The very impermanence of human love points you toward a greater constancy. When the hand you held lets go, when the voice that comforted you grows silent, when the face you cherished fades into memory, you are left face to face with the one who does not change. The one who is with you before you ever knew the warmth of another's embrace, and the one who will be with you when every earthly bond is severed. Do you not see the mercy in this design? The temporary teaches you to cling to the eternal, and so I urge you, love, but do not clutch. Cherish, but do not demand. Pour yourself out, but do not pretend you can control the tide. To love wisely is to love bravely, with the awareness that loss is not a thief, but a teacher. When it comes, it strips away illusion. It shows you what mattered. It forces you to ask what remains when the person is gone. And if you are listening with the ears of your spirit, the answer will resound. What remains is what was true. What remains is what was eternal all along. You may resist this truth. You may say, "But I cannot bear it." Yet you already bear it. Every day you wake, you live under this reality. And still you love, still you hope, still you reach out for another soul. That is not weakness. That is courage clothed in flesh. To know you will lose and still choose to give your heart, that is strength. That is faith. That is the echo of something divine in you. So stop demanding certainty. It will never be given to you in the way you desire. But you have been given something greater, the call to love without chains, to give without fear, to embrace the moment with a heart wide open, knowing it may be the last, and therefore it is holy. And when the ending does command, you will not collapse in despair. For you will know you loved as fully as you could, with eyes wide open, unafraid of loss. You will have lived not in denial, but in truth. And truth will not leave you empty, will lead you home. Remember this, asterisk, asterisk, to demand forever is to miss the beauty of today. To accept loss is to finally learn how to love. Asterisk, asterisk, most people don't want partners, they want mirrors. They are not searching for love, they are searching for reflection. They crave someone who will echo back their image, affirm their choices, applaud their moods, and never expose their hidden cracks. But love is not a mirror, it is a furnace. It refines, it exposes, it burns away what is false. And this is why so many relationships collapse. The moment truth demands to be seen. Listen carefully. When your bond is built only on validation, it will shatter the first time your partner refuses to worship your ego. For validation is fragile, it demands constant feeding, constant affirmation, constant reassurance. It becomes an idol, and idols always demand sacrifice. You sacrifice peace, you sacrifice honesty, you sacrifice your own soul just to keep the image intact. But the moment your partner speaks truth instead of flattery, the idol falls. That is not love breaking, that is illusion crumbling. You see, love is not about finding someone who makes you feel flawless. Love is about finding someone who is unafraid to remind you of your flaws, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Iron sharpens iron, and sparks will fly in the process. Yet sparks are not signs of destruction, they are signs of refinement. Still, many recoil. They want comfort without correction, pleasure without purification. But love that never challenges you is not love at all, it is vanity in disguise. Let me tell you what is happening in the unseen. Every shallow relationship, every bond built only on flattery is being allowed to collapse so that you may hunger for what is true. The breaking you call heartbreak may actually be deliverance. For what you lost was never love, was reflection. And the reason it hurts so deeply is because you mistook validation for intimacy. But hear this. True love does not worship your image. True love calls you higher. It refuses to let you remain small, selfish, or blind. True love will confront you, stretch you, and sometimes wound your pride. And in those wounds, humility enters. And in humility, you become capable of the deepest connection. Do not despise those who challenge you. Do not run from those who refuse to play along with your ego. That resistance you feel is not rejection, it is invitation. Invitation to grow, to be reshaped, to be aligned with something greater than your desires. For the purpose of love is not to complete yourself, a majid is to break it, so that what emerges is stronger, freer, and more whole than you ever imagined. Can you see how divine this design is? That no human being was ever meant to be your mirror. They were meant to be your fellow traveler, your sharpened edge, your co-laborer in becoming. If you only seek reflection, you will remain trapped in a shallow pool of self-obsession. But if you embrace refinement, you will discover a river that carries you deeper, further toward the eternal. And so the Spirit whispers, stop chasing mirrors. Stop demanding your partner be your constant echo. Release them from the burden of making you feel complete. You were never meant to be completed by flesh and blood. You were meant to be refined, strengthened, and awakened by it. Completion lies elsewhere. But here, in this earthly bond, you are given the gift of growth. Some of you are listening and realizing why so many of your relationships have failed. It was not that love abandoned you. It was that you were chasing reflection instead of substance. You thought love was agreement, but real love is alignment. Agreement is temporary, it shifts when desires shift. But alignment is eternal, it points you toward the higher, the unshakable, the everlasting dot. So I urge you, do not cling to vanity. Do not demand your partner bow to your image. Seek instead the fire that tests, the truth that pierces, the love that refuses to flatter. For in that furnace, your ego will burn, but your soul will rise. And that rising's what love was always meant to accomplish in you. Never forget this. Asterisk love is not found in the mirror, is found in the fire. And only in the fire will you see who you truly are. Asterisk. If your peace depends on another person's mood, You are not in love, you are enslaved. And yet how many walk through life shackled by invisible chains, rising and falling on the shifting tides of someone else's emotions? One smile, and you soar. One frown, and you collapse. One word of affirmation, and you feel alive. One word of silence, and you feel abandoned. That is not freedom, it is captivity disguised as devotion. Consider how fragile such a life becomes. You hand over the keys to your soul, allowing another storm to dictate your weather. You live in constant anticipation, always waiting for their approval, terrified of their disapproval, walking on eggshells instead of walking in truth. That is not love, it is bondage. And the tragedy is this: many call it passion, many call it loyalty, many even call it sacrifice. But heaven calls it idolatry. For you have made another human being the master of your peace. Let me ask you, how can something eternal be rooted in something so unstable? People change. Moods shift like the wind. One day they are warm, the next they are distant. One moment they are tender, the next they are harsh. If your heart rises and falls with their every fluctuation, you will never know true rest. You will never know stillness. You will never know the peace that passes understanding, because you have traded it for the counterfeit peace of temporary approval. But listen closely. Real love does not chain you to another's mood, anchors you beyond it. Real love allows you to walk into someone's storm without losing your calm, to hear their anger without losing your grounding, to experience their silence without losing your song. This is not detachment TD strength. It is the strength that comes from knowing your peace is not sourced in them, but in something deeper, higher, unshakable. Do you see the wisdom in this design? You were never meant to live at the mercy of another's emotions. You were meant to carry a peace that surpasses emotions altogether. A peace that remains when people leave, when words wound, when silence deafens. A peace that is not based on circumstance, but on truth. For when your peace is rooted in truth, you cannot be manipulated. You cannot be controlled. You cannot be enslaved by fear of abandonment. You are free to love not from need, not from desperation, but from abundance. Think of how many relationships collapse because of this hidden slavery. One partner demands the other be their constant source of joy, their never-ending well of reassurance, their shield against insecurity. But no human can bear that weight. They were not created to. And when they fail, they always will you blame them for not completing you, when the truth is, you placed a burden on them that was never theirs to carry. Here is the revelation. Love thrives when you are whole before you enter it. Love dies when you demand another person to make you whole. If your identity crumbles when someone withdraws affection, you have not built on rock, you have built on sand. And storms always reveal the foundation. Always. But there is hope in this truth. For the very moment you realize you have been enslaved, the chains can be broken. The very moment you see the futility of anchoring your peace to another's mood, you can begin to shift your anchor to the eternal. And once anchored there, you are unshakable. You can love boldly, freely, generously, without fear of loss. Because your peace does not rise or fall with the tides of human emotion. I am speaking to someone who has been tossed back and forth, exhausted from the roller coaster of another's inconsistency. This is your call to step off that ride, to reclaim your soul, to remember that love is a choice, not a prison, to remember that peace is your birthright, not a gift someone else doles out when they feel like it. And when you reclaim that peace, something shifts. You stop clinging. You stop begging. You stop fearing. And instead, you love more deeply than ever, not because you must, not because you are desperate, but because you are free. Free to give without losing yourself. Free to stay without being chained. Free to walk away without being shattered. So hear this with urgency, when your peace is no longer enslaved to another's mood. You do not stop loving, you finally start. And that kind of love can never be broken. Commitment isn't proven when things are good. T's proven in silence, in boredom, in the ordinary. Anyone can cling to another when the fire is hot, when passion burns bright, when every moment feels like a dream written in the stars. But the true test of love is not found in the glow of fireworks. It is found in the quiet, in the mundane, in the unnoticed spaces of life where no one is watching. And yet how many abandon love the moment the spark fades? They mistake the absence of novelty for the absence of meaning. They say, "I am not excited anymore, so perhaps this is not for me." But what they fail to see is that excitement was never the measure of commitment. Excitement is fleeting. Commitment is eternal. Excitement is a wave. Commitment is the ocean. Listen closely. Real love is not sustained by constant novelty, but by constant presence. It is not measured by how loud the laughter is on the mountaintop, but by how steady the silence is in the valley. And it is in those valleys that the truth is revealed. When the routine sets in, when the thrill gives way to repetition, when passion must learn to walk instead of run, that is when love either matures or dies. The world trains you to chase stimulation. It whispers that love must always feel like the first kiss, always taste like the first spark, always thrill like the first encounter. And so when the rhythm slows, you panic. You begin to believe that something is wrong, that you've fallen out of love, that perhaps there is someone else who can reignite what has dimmed. But here is the revelation. What you call the dimming is often the deepening. What you call boredom is often the soil of roots. What you call ordinary is often the place where the sacred hides itself. Do you not see? The strongest love is not forged in constant ecstasy, is forged in daily faithfulness. The decision to show up again and again, even when the feeling is not thrilling, even when the days feel repetitive, even when the story seems quiet. This is the furnace where true commitment is refined. For if your love cannot survive the ordinary, it was never love at all, it was only desire dressed in romance. Think of it like a house. Anyone can marvel at the paint on the walls, the glow of the lights, the beauty of the decoration. But a house is not built on paint. It is built on a foundation, and foundations are not glamorous. They are hidden, silent, unseen. Yet without them, the whole structure collapses. In the same way, commitment is the foundation of love. Passion decorates it. Excitement lights it. But commitment holds it. And this is the deeper call: to stop idolizing feelings and start honoring faithfulness. Feelings will come and go like the tide. Faithfulness remains like the rock. To walk away when the feelings fade is to worship emotion instead of honoring truth. But to stay, to endure, to choose daily, that is to align yourself with a love far greater than your own. Some of you are listening and realizing that you have mistaken novelty for depth. You have chased the thrill of beginnings while fleeing the weight of endurance. But beginnings are easy. It is endurance that proves the heart. For the measure of love is not how loudly it begins, is how quietly it lasts. So I say to you with urgency, do not despise the ordinary. Do not curse the silence. Do not fear the routine. These are not signs of love's death. They are invitations to a deeper union, one not built on excitement, but on unshakable devotion. Learn to find the holy in the daily, the sacred in the simple, the eternal in the ordinary. For in that place, commitment is revealed. And when you understand this, you stop chasing the next thrill. You stop demanding constant stimulation. You stop fleeing from silence. And you begin to discover the beauty of a love that endures not because it is always exciting, but because it is always faithful. Never forget this. True love is not proven on the mountaintop of passion, is proven in the valley of the ordinary, where silence speaks louder than words and faithfulness becomes the truest fire. Stop asking, does this person complete me? No one completes you. Hear this truth with all the weight it carries. You were never born a half waiting for another half. You were never created incomplete, stumbling through life until another human being gave you worth. That is the lie that has enslaved generations, the lie that keeps men and women desperate, clinging, fearful of being alone. You were not made to be completed by flesh and blood. You were made whole from the beginning, and that wholeness comes from the one who breathed life into you. Yet how often do we forget this? How often do we hand over our identity to another, saying, if they leave, I am nothing. If they love me, I am everything. That is not love, it is idolatry in disguise. For when you anchor your worth in another, you give them power they were never meant to carry. And inevitably, they will stumble beneath the weight of your expectations. No man, no woman, no partner can carry the burden of completing your soul. That role belongs to eternity, not humanity. Consider how fragile this illusion is. If your sense of self rises or falls with another's presence, you will forever be tossed like a ship without anchor. When they smile, you are radiant. When they withdraw, you are shattered. This is not love. This is dependency clothed in romance. And dependency, unchecked, turns toxic. It suffocates what could have been beautiful. It poisons what was meant to be holy. But here is the revelation. Love was never meant to complete, it was meant to complement. Love is not two halves searching for wholeness. It is two whole beings standing side by side, choosing strength over need, choosing devotion over desperation, choosing truth over illusion. Love is not born out of lack, but out of abundance. It is not, I need you to make me whole. It is, I am whole, and I choose to walk with you. Do you see the freedom in this? When you know you are whole, you no longer cling in fear of being abandoned. You no longer demand that someone else fill the holes in your soul. You love out of freedom, not bondage. You give out of overflow, not emptiness. And in that freedom, love becomes purer, stronger, more unshakable. For it is not rooted in desperation, it is rooted in truth. This is why so many relationships collapse. People enter them expecting salvation, expecting completion, expecting the other to carry the weight of their wounds. And when the other falls in, they always will, they cry betrayal. But it was not betrayal. It was misplacement. You placed divine responsibility on human shoulders, and human shoulders were never built for such a burden. Let me tell you something eternal. You are already whole. You are designed with purpose, intention, and fullness. Your worth does not increase when someone desires you, nor does it decrease when someone abandons you. You are not half a soul wandering in search of its missing piece. You are a full creation, designed with everything you need to walk in strength, dignity, and power. And when you finally see this, you will stop begging others to define you. And you will start living from the abundance that was always yours. But this requires courage, the courage to stand alone and still know you are enough. The courage to release the illusion that another's love can rescue you. The courage to embrace yourself as already whole. And when you do, something extraordinary happens. Love becomes no longer about need, it becomes about choice. You no longer say, stay with me because I cannot live without you. You say, walk with me because together we can build something greater than ourselves. That is the difference between bondage and freedom. So hear this with urgency. Stop searching for someone to complete you. Stop placing your wholeness in the fragile hands of another. Stop living as if you are unfinished without a partner. That lie has robbed you of your dignity long enough. It is time to reclaim it. It is time to remember who you are, and when you do, when you stand in your wholeness, when you walk in your fullness, when you live in your strength, you will finally be able to love as you were meant to love. Not out of desperation, but out of freedom. Not out of emptiness, but out of overflow. Not out of fear, but out of courage. Never forget this. Love is not to halves becoming whole, it is to wholes becoming one. And only when you know you are already whole will you ever know the power of love that cannot be shaken.